I just shot my first real short film. In 2 days, with 8 people and basically no money. It was chaotic, intense, and probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, but we actually pulled it off. So Circle of the Soul is actually a passion project that started as me reaching out to my long-term friend Nina. She's a co-writer of this movie and the lead actress, and we just wanted to film something. We didn't know what, and we wanted to film it for ourselves, you know, to practice filmmaking, acting, stuff like that. And then we started writing it, and the more and more we thought about it, the more and more it escalated into a bigger and bigger story. And when I say bigger, I mean more elaborate, with more details and stuff like that. And at one point we were just, I think even jokingly like, haha, yeah, we could submit this to festivals. And at some point that joking around just grew into, okay, let's actually make a full-on professional short film that we can submit to festivals then. The psychological horror genre was not something we intentionally got to. We wanted to shoot a horror because we were writing a film based on a location we have access to, and that was my uncle's house. So it was supposed to be actually just like a creature feature where there's a girl house sitting and then there comes a monster and tries to kill her. That was the original simplified idea. We wanted to challenge ourselves into creating something that's not a basic cliche where the main protagonist makes all of the dumb decisions and get themselves killed. So we were like, okay, what would you actually do if you were in this situation? And that kind of snowballed further and further, and we wanted to create that sense of inevitability and that there is no escape whatever you do, to make it really scary. And that's how it kind of grew from classical creature feature cheesy 80s movie into a psychological horror actually. Circle of the Soul was shot with a professional gear, and we had absolutely no budget, so there was no money whatsoever included in the movie. Everything that was financed by me and Nina, the co-writer and the lead actress. But we actually had pro gear. We had Arri Alexa, we had sky panels, we had professional equipment, and I am extremely thankful because we got a great donation from MB Grip. They gave us the camera, the lenses, everything, and they actually donated that. Here is the gear we used and how we actually used it. So for the camera, we got Arri Alexa Mini, and it was a great camera. I think it was perfect for the job because it has that classic cinematic look that's not too digital, but also not too gritty. It's right somewhere in the middle, and I think that image gave a special feeling to the whole movie and the whole Circle of the Soul vibe that we needed. And of course the lenses, which was Cooke S2, S3. Prime set. It's fantastic. It's vintage glass that gives it, you know, that horror feeling actually. So that combination of those two lenses and camera is something that I'm again extremely grateful for, and that we used, and it was amazing to have that on set. And for the drone, I had my DJI Air 3. We just flew that for the beginning shots, where Hannah is driving her car and going from city to more rural area, and I wanted to do wide shots with the drone to show extra that, you know, loneliness and that nothing's around her vibe. When filming in the morning, it was still really cold and it was foggy. Fog was amazing because it makes the film look really great with that fog in the intro shots, but I remember constantly getting a propeller overwhelming warning or something like that, and it's like flashing light and says land immediately, and I was like, oh, shit. And I land the drone and I go check it out, what's happening, you know, why are props overheating, overloading, and I see just giant chunks of ice that actually froze on the propellers. So that was literally, okay, we filmed 2 shots of, you know, Nina driving the car, and then she goes park somewhere near me. I get in the car and then I just scrape the ice off the propellers, let the drone chill a little bit, and then I fly it up again. And it was rinse and repeat of just scraping ice from the propellers so we can get the shots. For audio, we used DJI mics actually. I believe these ones, no, I know these ones. So what we did was we had DJI mics, and we had one transmitter connected to a lav mic like this that was connected to our main actress, and the other transmitter was actually connected with a cable to the boom microphone. And my friend used a receiver to, you know, start and stop recording, and we recorded everything internally on the microphones themselves. So that was, you know, kind of a low budget setup, but I think it worked out really well because the boom microphone worked out super nice. It was quite a minimal setup for audio, but I knew that I wanted to have a lav mic and boom mic for everything, so I can, you know, combine those two and get the best audio that you can get. And as for the lights, we used RE Sky panels. We had 2 of those. They are also RGB, which we used in one of the shots to get desaturated blue light through the window. We had Deado lights. I believe we had a set of 3. We powered them with actually V-mount batteries, so we don't have a bunch of cables running through the set. They had, you know, just a color temperature and how much you want them to be dim. And we shot most of the film, we lit most of the film with those Deado lights actually. And I brought my own Nanlite power tubes that we used, I believe, in one shot. And one of the main lights we actually used was, we kind of faked practicals. We had Aperture B7C's bulbs that you just screw into already existing light sockets, and we had it on gaffer control. So that was amazing because they are RGB and you can also control, you know, the temperature, how dim or not they are. So we lit a lot of the movie practically with those Aperture B7Cs. When we were originally writing the movie, we actually wrote it for my camera in mind that I have, and my gear, my lighting setups and everything. So this was just a generally extremely big upgrade. There were some shots that we had planned for my camera, like shot from the microwave, that we were like, okay, I have, you know, it's a normal sized camera, it can fit in the microwave, it's gonna be, you know, fairly easy. And then we got the Alexa Mini, that's not that, it's like, you know, it's a 10-kilogram camera, it's a massive camera. And it was great, but then we were like, okay, that won't fit in a microwave, so we actually got a free microwave from the marketplace that's not working, and we cut out the back so we could fit, you know, the lens through. So that was one of the rigged up shots we did. So it brought a lot of, you know, extra challenges that we did not count on. But again, so extremely thankful that it happened, and, you know, we overcame all of the challenges that came with, you know, larger, more professional gear. For the assembling of the crew, it's mostly friends. It's all of the friends and family that wanted to help and wanted to be a part of this creative process. Everybody knew that they're not gonna get paid for it, that we don't have any money, and that it's all on, you know, volunteering and donating time basis. But they just wanted to be a part of creating Circle of the Soul, which I think is really incredible and amazing. And the team that we ended up with really pulled through. And I'm so thankful to everybody that endured those 2 hellish days that we filmed the movie and that we actually pulled it through. So I would definitely and will definitely work with that crew all over again. I was the producer for the movie, so scheduling was on me, and I knew that 2 days is gonna be really tight, and I created a shot list and, you know, like a times frame, scheduled everything. So that did not go to plan at all. We were late a lot and we shot like 3 hours more the next day than we initially thought we would. So in the original plan, there was, I think, 4 hours of sleep for the crew and everybody. And that actually, on the day of filming, when we were late because of the scenes with the dog that was not trained and, you know, stuff like that, things on set go wrong, that's fine. And those 4 hours of planned sleep turned into 2 hours for the crew and 0 hours for me. But then again, I don't think that I could have done anything to make it go better. Like, the dog wasn't trained, and just there are some things that just go wrong on set that you cannot control and you cannot know beforehand. What those 2 days on set actually looked like, it was tough. My dad and I think got up at like 4 or 4:30 in the morning, got to the location, we unloaded all of the gear out of the van, and then the rest of the crew started coming up, and that was around like 5 or 6 in the morning, I believe. They were meeting my uncle, who is the owner of the house, and the dogs, so the dogs don't freak out at unknown strangers. And then my uncle left, and then the entire day just started suddenly. It was until the next day at around 3 in the night, I think. That's when we called it, because I saw that nobody really had the capacity to, you know, keep pushing forward. and I said, okay, let's let the guys sleep. And for those like 2 hours, hour and a half, I was, prepping everything and just prepping the entire shoot list for the next day, considering we were late. So I just knew what shots we had to get the second day. The second day was also really, really tough. I think one might say that the second day was a lot harder than the first day, actually. I think I would also agree with that, because the second day, the crew had 2 hours of sleep, I had no sleep, and it was just, okay, let's go. Now we have to go work and do this and finish this film and actually concentrate on everything as much as we did the first day. And first day we had actually 7-8 hours of sleep. Now we didn't. So second day was really, really tough for everybody, but we got it. I think we finished shooting everything around 5 in the afternoon, 5 in the afternoon, and then the crew got to go home and sleep and rest. And me and my dad actually got to the Grip, and we unloaded all of the gear, cleaned everything up, and returned it in the pristine condition that we got it. So we were done at around 1 in the morning, I believe. So that was like a period of 48 hours with no sleep at all. And then after all the shooting, it's been like around a week after we shot an entire movie that I started editing it, and I was the one who edited it. The whole movie is edited in DaVinci Resolve. I imported all the footage and pretty much just started making it and putting everything together. It was fairly easy edit, in the meaning that we didn't shoot, because we didn't have time, we didn't shoot a lot of coverage. So pretty much none of the shots ended up not being in the film. So everything we shot is in the film, because when I knew, okay, we'll only have 2 days to shoot everything, I was like, okay, we cannot afford to shoot something that's not gonna be in the movie, because we don't have that kind of time. So everything we shot actually ended up being in the movie. We had to be really specific then with the scenes and everything, because we knew, okay, so this is only thing we shot. There is no way to cover your ass in post. So if it's not good, you're screwed pretty much. But everything turned out quite fine, and it was a pleasure editing it. Editing pretty much went quite smoothly, and I did the sound design as well. And this is one of the movies where the sound design is actually really important, with the twist in the ending is really related to sound design, but I'm not gonna say too much because I don't want to spoil it. Watch it when it comes out and you'll see what I'm talking about, and when the movie comes out I'll have it linked somewhere. The entire post took about 3 months. Originally it was 3 months, and then the guy was a bit late with the music, so everything went kind of on hold. Then I wanted to actually upgrade my DaVinci to Studio, to a paid version, which I did, and then something freaking horrible happened, because for some reason when I entered the project, only the Circle of the Soul project, the whole program just crashed. Like, I didn't even get to press play, it just crashed completely. And I did not know what was happening, because when I entered any other project that I was working on at that time, it was all fine, it all worked nicely, and there was no problem with the update. So that really brought my morale down, because I was like, will I have to like edit the movie again from the scratch, from start? Well, the last like chance was, okay, let's export the timeline, which I did manage to do, so just the timeline. And I actually went to Grip and I used their laptop, because they have a bit stronger laptop, and I used their laptop to finish editing the movie completely. And then the guy sent the music, and then I finished all the edits, just the detail work. The edit then was around 6 months total, but most of it happened in 3-month period. We submitted the Circle of the Soul to around 20 film festivals. Most of them are in Europe, some of them are in America, and I believe Ireland, and we'll submit to Sydney. So now there's just a bit of a stagnant period. But I wanted to keep the momentum up, so I challenged my team, and we're gonna make 1 movie each month during the summer. I got that inspiration from Standard Story Company. Thank you, Kent Lamb, for the inspiration. I'm gonna be documenting everything on this channel, so from location scouting, writing, and filming, editing, behind the scenes, what I would do different, everything I'm gonna be documenting here. So subscribe if you want to see that. Subscribe if you want to see how Circle of the Soul actually did on the festivals, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.